Check me out. Yeah. Great morning, kings and queens. Welcome to another conversation with Drew, where there's such a privilege and an honor to share this gift with you guys. You know, it's truly humbling to be able to give you guys the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I've gained through my experiences over the years. That's helping me to become the best version of myself. It's such a blessing that I'm able to share with you guys, you know, to cause you to become the best version of yourself. You know, this is a wonderful Wednesday. Check it out. Yeah, you know, it's such a blessing, you know, to have life, you know, and have life more abundantly, you know. And first it starts with our thinking, and that's why I hashtag this product of thoughts. It's just amazing, you know, when you begin to understand the principle of thinking. It's something that I come back to often because it's so imperative that we understand, you know, that we are the product of our thoughts, you know, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of our situations, regardless of how we grew up. You know, the reality of it is that now our lives are in our hands. Great morning, Queen. Our lives are in our hands, you know, and the reality of it is that we have to begin to change our thinking if we want to change the course of our lives. Yes, we have that type of authority. Yes, we have that type of power. You know, I know we've been taught, especially in religion, that, you know, God is in control. You know, God is in control, but he's given you everything that you need to do in order to control your life. You know, and if you don't understand this simple principle of that you're a product of your thinking, kings and queens, you'll forever be waiting for somebody to do something or something to do something, when all in actuality, you know, he gave you the commandment to have dominion, to have power, to have rule, to have authority, to have mastery, to have leadership, you know, and that comes and that starts with your thinking. It was so amazing. You know, I've been helping this young man, this king, you know, that I grew up with. You know, in his life, you know, he had got to the point where, you know, he was ready to call it quits, to give all of life up, you know, and he was struggling with it, and you know, and you know, finally, you know, it was just put on me, you know, to share with this king, like, listen, man, when you think negative, when you speak negative, and when you act negative, the reality is that you'll never get a positive result out of life. You know, when I say that again, when you think negative, when you speak negative, and when you act negative, you'll never get a positive result out of life. That's not a law that I made up. That's not a principle that I've made up. That's not a precept that I derived. The reality of it is that it's in the atmosphere, it's in the earth, and it's working regardless of if you choose to follow it or not. It's infallible, it's irrefutable. I can't change it. If it was that simple that I can think as negative as I want, and I can speak as negative as I want, and I can act as negative as I want, and still get a positive result, listen here, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be trying so hard to be positive Patty all the time. You figure, deal me? Like, man, like, it's times where I don't want to be, but the reality of it is that when you know this principle, when you understand this law, you'll simply start thinking and speaking on what it is that you want out of life, you know. And that's what you have to understand, kings and queens, is that you have the authority to change your circumstances. You have the authority to change your life right now. And if and I want to say this real fast. If you can, kings and queens, you know, can go to the bottom of your screen and hit share. You know, it'll share out to share with your friends. I'd be greatly appreciated. Back to this good groovy music message. When you understand, kings and queens, that literally where you are right now is a product of your old thoughts, right? That's just the reality. The law is what you think about, you bring about. You know what I mean? You can go to personal development and listen to the Les Browns and the Zig Ziglars. You can listen to the Napoleon Hills. You can read up on the Charles F. Hainols, the Florence Scovel Shins, so forth and so on. There, let you know that your thinking will bring results. You have to understand how powerful that is. Listen, a word is nothing but an expressed thought. That's what the word means in the Greek language. The word in the Greek language is the word logos. Logos is Logos, which means the expression of an idea or an expression of a thought, right? And so your word that you spoke, right, was nothing but the expression of something you was thinking. So that means that a thought is a contained word. That's all that it is. And a word is an expression of that contained thought. So when you understand how simple that is, you then recognize that, okay, well, everywhere I go in life, I constantly see words, whether that's on the back of my car, whether that's something that's on my wristband that say just be you, whether that's something on my shirt, whether that's the building that I'm walking into, whether that's the argument that I'm having with my spouse. The reality of it is that words are creating things in your life. So when you understand that, kings and queens, you'll begin to be mindful of the words that you put in you, the words that you digest, and then the words that you begin to speak. Because your life is a direct result of the thoughts that you've had. And that's why I was trying to let this king know that it's temporary where you are. The circumstances that you're dealing with are temporary. Before you got to where you are right now, there were certain thoughts that you were thinking. You say, Drew, give me an example. Okay, gladly, I surely will. The job that you have right now that you don't want to be in right now, you know what you used to say to yourself before you got this job? Either A, I want another job, or B, I need a job, right? And so what happened was, after you kept saying that, and because you kept thinking that, and you was expressing the original thought of what you desired, right? I want a job, or I want a new job. The reality of it is that then once you begin to speak it, and then you took action to bring it about, the reality of it is that you got that job. Now, it may not be the job you want. It may not be the man you want. It may not be the queen you want, right? It may not be the environment you want. It may not be the car you want. But the reality of it is, kings and queens, is that the current position that you're in right now is only a product of your old thinking. That's it. That's it. You say, well, Drew, I ain't want no man that was going to cheat on me. Or, Drew, I ain't want no job where my supervisor was going to be, you know what I mean, on my back, you know what I mean, every single day, disrespectful, racist, blah, 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 blah. Hey, listen here, kings and queens. Be more specific with your thinking then. Be more specific to the T with your thinking. Because you are literally a product of your old thinking. That's it. That's it. When I was obese for 25 years, I believed that my whole entire life that I would be obese. I accepted all the fat boy jokes. I accepted all the fat boy names. I accepted all the fat boy habits. Therefore, my life was what? A result of being fat. That's it. It was a result of me thinking the way that I was thinking because that's all I knew. Once I changed my mind, literally for the last 8 years of my life, I have been healthy. There's no way to go back. The only way that I go back to being obese is if I let my mind go back to those old thoughts. It's literally that simple. I know y'all looking at me like, man, Drew, I'm struggling right now. Or, man, I'm having a hard time with X, Y, and Z. It can't be that simple. All you have to do is trace the thoughts back to the original thought. Trace your thoughts back. Whether that was a parent that was saying certain things to you, speaking certain things over your life, whether that was an environment that you were seeing or that you were around that wasn't conducive to where you want to be, but it was literally silently and unconsciously downloading ideas and thoughts into your mind. Look, it's this simple, right? Look, check this out. This is how powerful your thinking is. You ever notice, right? This is so funny too. You ever notice that when you are sad over a situation, whether that's a loss of a loved one, whether that's a loss of a friend, whatever the case may be, a breakup, whatever the case may be, you ever notice that the more you sit there and think about it, the harder you cry? I'm going to say that again because this is so real, right? You ever pay attention to it that when you lose a loved one or you lose in a relationship or a friend or whatever the case may be, have you ever recognized that the more you sit there and think about that loss, the harder you cry? It's literally a law. It's a principle that you cannot get around, kings and queens. You are the product of your continuous thoughts. That's why the law is, as a man think in his heart, so is he. Or what we think about, we bring about. Our thoughts become things. Why? Because that's the way that everything was started. That's the way that everything was originated. That's why it says in the beginning was the word. What does the word mean in the Greek? Logos. What is that? What is the meaning of logos? An express idea. So in the beginning was God's expressed idea. And God's expressed idea was with God. And God's expressed idea was God. And all things were made by God's expressed idea. And God's expressed idea became flesh. It's literally that simple. So that's why when you go back to the original, in the beginning, it says that let there be light. Let there be the earth. Let there be water. That's how everything was spoken because he was expressing an idea. He was expressing his thinking. He was expressing his thoughts. And so he spoke it into existence. Why do you think that you constantly go through the things that you go through in life? Because if you checked your thoughts, If you then checked your words, you will see that the whole time you've been creating your circumstances. It's literally that simple. I used to think, right, that the result of being poor and the result of being wealthy was privilege. That's what I used to think. I used to think that the result of being poor and the result of being wealthy was based on race. It was predicated on race. And as I began to grow older and I began to do study and I began to research, right, and I began to do my due diligence, I began to see the common thread between the poor and the rich is their thinking. That literally was it. The poor man, right? Go look, check this out. Check this out. This is what's so powerful. If you went and sat at a table, a round table of poor people, you know what a conversation you would hear? Man, I'm tired of these bills. Oh my God, my kids is getting on my nerves. I can't stand this job. I cannot stand this supervisor. Oh my God, girl, if that person look at me one more time, I'm gonna just go over there and slap them in their face. Man, bro, man, I'm trying to make some more money, man. You know what I mean? But it never seemed like nothing's going right, man. Dang, bro, and it's constant complaints. Constant negativity. That's the thing. What they call it, seeing the glass half full. Half empty. You go to a round table with successful people, you know what they're talking about? Ideas. They're talking about how they can change something. They're figuring out plans and strategies to do something different. There is no complaining going on at the table because they understand the simple principle that what I think about, the things that I express out of my mouth, the things that I am constantly placing over and over in my mind, then that is what it's going to be. Bottom line, people, look, check this out. People who are out of shape, who are struggling with health, go listen to their conversation. Oh my God, I'm just so tired of being big. Oh my gosh, I want that pizza. Oh my gosh, if I could just eat like this and lose weight, then it would just be the world that I want to live in. I'm telling you, my back is hurting. My knees is hurting. Oh my gosh. They need to make bigger clothes that they make in the smaller sizes. Listen to me, man. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. Why? Because they are not understanding and recognizing that the very things, right, that they are saying out of their mouths are causing them to be in the very position that they are in. You know what changed for me? When I was 300 pounds, you know what changed for me? I began to say to myself, I just want the lifestyle of health and wellness. Mind you, right? I've never seen it before. I've never experienced it before. Nobody in my family was doing it at the current time. But I began to say, I want the lifestyle of health and wellness. If I can just stay consistent for 1 year, I'll be able to accomplish it. 7 years later, I have it. And I've been living it because I changed the things that I was thinking and I changed my life. In a personal development realm, they talk about the super subconscious and the subconscious mind, right? And they call the subconscious mind the memory bank. And they call the super subconscious or the infinite wisdom or many terminologies, right? And what they're saying, that's basically that's the Holy Spirit that they're referring to. They talk about the ether that's in the air and it's in everything. And so when you think these certain thoughts, that ether or the super subconscious draws from the subconscious or the memory bank and it brings it to fruition. I know that's super deep and a lot of people ain't heard that terminology before, but that's how they refer to it, right? It's the same exact thing that they talk about in the Word of God, where it says that the Holy Spirit brings things to remembrance. So what it's saying is that it can only bring things to remembrance, things that you think about continuously, are things that you constantly download. It says, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issue of life. The word heart in the Bible is mind, or your soul. Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. So it's saying that what you're putting into your container in your bucket is what's going to come out of that container in that bucket. So if you constantly say to yourself that I hate myself, you will never feel the feelings of love. You'll never love yourself. If you constantly say to yourself that I am broke, I'm broke, I'm tired of being broke, I hate being broke, then you're going to constantly recreate that over and over and over again. You have to understand, kings and queens, how simple this is. I am literally trying to give you simple, practical principles that can help you change your life forever. Change it forever. You have to understand that where you are right now, you are a product of your old thinking. If that's the case, right? Check this out. If that's the case, that means that right now you can create a better future by changing the way that you think. Changing the way that you think is controlling your life. I don't care what you read. I don't care what you study. If it's talking about you becoming a better you, it always has to do with you changing your mind first. What up, King? It always has to do with you changing your mind first. Your thoughts are that valuable. I know, because we come from a society, especially in the African American, where your physical prowess is encouraged. You gonna wake up and you gonna go get a job, or you gonna go play some football, or you gonna get out there and sell some dope, or it's all about your hustle, or it's all about your grind. Everything has to do with the physical, so we never stop and think about our thinking. That's the problem, because you don't understand that every action is always preceded with a thought. A thought always provoked the action. The action did not come before the thought. The thought came before the action. Nobody has ever committed a murder and never thought about killing somebody. Nobody has ever committed adultery and never thought about cheating on their wives. Nobody has ever become successful by happenstance. Nobody has ever accomplished owning a business without thinking about it or planning it first. It's not a reality. Nobody has ever constructed a building without the idea or the blueprint from an architect. Nobody. It's how it works. Your thinking, your ideas, the things that you are expressing in life are the very things that's going to cause you to become the person you desire to be. That's going to cause you to be in a place that you desire to be in. That's going to cause you to be with the people you desire to be around. That's going to cause you to become healthy even though you're sick. I promise you. I promise you. You're a product of your old thoughts. That is it. That is it. And when you understand that, you begin to say, okay, well, if I'm a product of my old thinking, that means that I can change my current circumstances, you know what I mean, by changing the way that I'm thinking right now. How can I change the way that I think right now? I'm glad you're asking. Your literature. The things that you're not reading. The things that you're not listening to. The things that you're not watching. Those are the things of why you are where you are, and the very things that can change your life by reading, by educating yourself. Literally, when I say that these are the principles that make the world go round, everybody like, money makes the world go round. Money don't make the world go round. People who are thinking make the world go round. People who are thinking makes the world go round. People who understand the power of ideas are the ones that are the game changers. Like K-Camp say, you know what I mean? We change the game don't change us. We change the game by being innovative. We change the game by changing our thinking. We change the game by understanding that our ideas that we express through our mouths that become words are the very things that change the atmosphere. People who are in prison because first their mind was in prison. That's it. That's it. Let me say that again. People who are in prison because first their mind was locked up. Their mind has been in prison before they ever got into that place that we call the penitentiary. That's it. People who are free, their minds are free. They don't think like that. So when you understand the basic principles of you thinking, you are a prisoner to your current circumstances because your mind is locked up. You have to free your mind. So that means that everything that you've been taught and conditioned to believe up to this point, it has caused you to be a prisoner to your circumstances. It has, caused you to be a prisoner to your current position in life. So how do I free that, Andrew Clayborn? I free that by reading information that teaches me that I'm free. Harriet Tubman said, I freed some slaves, but I would have freed much more if they didn't know. I mean, if they would have only knew that they were free. If they would have only knew that they weren't slaves, I would have freed so much more. Why? Because you have to understand that you are a prisoner to circumstances and situations only because you think that way. That's it. I used to think that it was so deep, kings and queens. God is my witness, I did. I used to think that it was so deep and that we literally had to go through all of these physical things in order to change things, right? And then once I began to look and I began to research and do my due diligence, and I began to see how the mind was creating everything, how the mind was guiding everything, I said, oh, shoot, here it is. I've been running around like what they say, you running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Exactly. Exactly. Because you're not understanding that the chicken needs its head, it needs its thinking, it needs its brain, it needs its idea to slow down and walk and recognize that, hey, I got to change my thinking before my actions change. I have to change my thoughts before my lifestyle change. When you understand that the ideas leads to ideologies, and your ideologies lead to your philosophies, and your philosophies lead to your lifestyle, then everything will change. And that's what you're lacking in life right now. You're lacking this principle and this understanding and comprehending that the reality of it is that your current circumstances are only because you're the product of your old thinking. That's it. I know. I know y'all been following me for a little minute now. Y'all wanted me to get on here and blast y'all with something powerful, something that moves you emotionally, and you over there fist pumping like, man, this man can't see me fist pumping, and he moving me, and he got me feeling all good, and woo, we can have a party, a praise party, and all of the above, but not today. You need this basic principle, so when I hit you with that video that got you feeling all good, you understand why. Because I'm hitting something that's so true inside of you to move you that way. Once you raise your thinking, your life will raise up with it. Once you elevate your thinking, your life will elevate with it. But the reality of it is if you think with the dumpster mentality, you will always be in the trash. You will always experience tragedy. You will always experience the bottom. You will always experience leftovers. You will always experience crumbs because you're thinking on the level of a peasant. Period. You have a dumpster mentality. That's why it seems like your life is so trashy. You have to clean your thoughts up. You have to organize your thinking. You have to get that clutter about your mind. Once you clean up your mind and you organize your mind, your life will become organized. I see it all the time. You can walk into somebody's house right now and see trash everywhere. You can see all of the rubbish everywhere in their house. You'll get in their car and their car look the same way, and then you'll have a conversation with them and their thoughts is everywhere. It's not a coincidence why their car look the way they do. It's not a coincidence why their house look the way they do, because their mind is cluttered. Therefore, everything that they are doing is cluttered. Their mind is trashy. So therefore, everything that they are involved with is trashy. It is a reality. I thought it was deeper than this, but it's not. And most people don't want to hear this because this is the hardest part of life. This is the hardest part of life. Because I recognize that most people in life don't want to challenge their thinking. They want to say, I have the right to think like this. That person did this to me, or I grew up in these type of circumstances and situations, and life has never been fair, and it's a white man's world, so we can't get ahead, and they are not giving us loans out here, and I can't own my own business. That's why I work a 9 to 5. And they have so many daggone excuses, not understanding that if you change your thinking, your situations will change. Your situations will change. I seen it in my own life. 5 years ago, I wasn't thinking like this. Therefore, since I wasn't thinking like this 5 years ago, I wasn't making these videos. 5 years ago, I wasn't. 5 years ago, I didn't know what a husband looked like. So 5 years ago, I was cheating. 5 years ago, I was living out the thoughts that I was a player. So 5 years ago, I didn't know how to be faithful. I didn't know how to be loyal. 5 years ago, I didn't recognize my value. So 5 years ago, I wasn't being able to give people their value through my life. So I understood that once I changed my thinking and I began to strategically live a life that will cause me to become greater, greater was inevitable. It was inevitable. So me being on Facebook Live, it was like, man, it had to create itself out there because I began to cultivate and work on a very gift that I had inside of me, which was to be a speaker. So once I began to download information to talk about and I began to do my research and my due diligence, it was only a matter of time for platforms like this to open up to me. What you have to recognize, kings and queens, is that you are simply a product of your old thinking. That's it. That's it. When you understand that you are a product of your old thinking, you will change the way that you think right now in order for you to have a more successful and more abundant life. You don't believe you deserve it, therefore you don't get it. You don't get it. It's so deep, right? I remember when a revelation came to me that the reason why a rich kid will never be poor is because his ideas is that we come from the best. I've always known the best. I've always experienced the best. Therefore, I'm going to always encounter the best. That's the way that he thinks. So he can never be poor because the only thing that's in his mind is that he's supposed to be rich and wealthy. He's supposed to be in big houses. He's supposed to have the finest dining. He's supposed to have the upper echelon when it comes to vehicles. He's supposed to experience the best schools and best education. That's what he's thinking. That's what he's thinking. And so therefore he can't be poor. The way that a poor kid becomes rich is by changing the fact that his ideas is saying that, man, this is what you deserve. This is your lot in life. And he has to say, no, this is a lie. This is a bold-faced lie. I believe that I can be rich. I believe that I can be successful. And he starts planning in his mind how to accomplish that, how to obtain that. And it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Literally. Yes, when you change your thinking, you do get immediate results. Everything don't change instantaneously. We're talking about 20, 30 years of negative thinking. People want that to change in 5 minutes. Listen, when I was obese, when I was 300 pounds, I did not become a bodybuilder in 30 days. I did not become a bodybuilder in 6 months. I did not become a bodybuilder in 1 year. It took a good 2 years for me to transform from 25. Listen, this is how dope it is, though. Check it out. Listen to me before I go. It took me 2 years, 2.5 years to become a bodybuilder when I was obese my whole entire life. I was obese for 25 years. I became a bodybuilder in 2.5 years all by myself. I didn't have a personal trainer. I didn't have a nutritionist. Look how that is, right? Exactly. It's not a look, it's a lifestyle. Thank you, Queen. Look how that is. How is it that for 25 years, I was obese and out of shape? And it only took 2.5 years to transform. Man, listen here. If it takes only 2.5 years for you to undo something that you've been thinking for 30 years, man, it's well worth it. People want these popcorn results. They want these microwave results. They want everything to change instantaneously. It doesn't work like that. You are uprooting and undoing trees that's been growing in your mind for 30, 40 years. Give it some time, but never give up. Never give up. Constantly challenge your thinking. Man, you know you can't do that, Drew, man. It's just impossible. Ain't nobody in your family ever did. Man, that's a lie. I can do all things and I know that all things are possible to him who believe. And that's what I keep doing to myself. Man, Drew, you know what I mean? You accomplished some things in fitness, man. You know what I mean? But you 33 now, you know, it might be a wrap. Nah, man, I'm just now starting life. I can do all things that I put my mind through. I changed my life from being obese for 25 years to 2.5 years. I can do anything. I'm telling you, this is how you change your thinking, Drew, man. You know what I mean? You had everything going in that relationship, man. You messed up in the beginning. It didn't work out, man. Are you any good to be in a relationship? All your relationship failed? Absolutely. I'm a king. I was created to be a husband. I was created to be a father. I was created to be a great provider and a sustainer. I was created to be a progenitor. This is who I am. This is what I do to myself every day. You think I got it perfect? That everything is perfectly made in my life? That's blasphemous. I'm challenging my thinking every single day. Why? Because I know the law has to work one day. And when that one day kicks in, when that one day kicks in, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It is a wrap. That's what I understand. I can do whatever I put my mind to because I was created from the DNA of success. I was created from the DNA of prosperity. I was created from the DNA of abundance. I was created from the DNA of kingdom, dominion, rule, power, govern, leadership. I was created from that same DNA, and so are you. So are you. Your thinking is why you are where you are. When you change your thinking, your life will change forever. It is a law. Thank you, kings and queens, for tuning in. This is a wonderful Wednesday, man. Thank you. This is another conversation with Drew. But remember, it's not a look, it's a lifestyle, kings and queens. Because we do this every day, not to impress people, but to leave our impression in the earth. God bless you. Have an amazing day. We're opening up again for donations, man, because we're taking this beyond Facebook Live. We're opening up multiple streams out here, man, so people can get these messages everywhere. But we need y'all's help. We need y'all's donations, man. If y'all can donate, man, go to Andrew D. Clayborn at CLAYBORN@gmail.com, or hit me up in my inbox for further instructions, and I'll give you instructions on how you can be a blessing, how you can be such a help to this and donate, so we can build beyond this. Or DM me, man, when I put this on Instagram. I love you, kings and queens. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and understand that once your thinking changes, your life will change forever. God bless.